advised with anything but to take good care of patients.
It has to begin with listening to them.
Fortunately, here at Mayo, we're afforded the time necessary to sit down and listen to them, to understand the nature of their symptoms.
That part of listening is really, I think, a central core of the clinic.
That pervades everything that we do, and that is a unique environment to work in.
Everybody here is a working unit, and coordination implies, just as it says, physicians interacting with other physicians.
We can bring colleagues from many different areas of medicine, expertise across virtually any field.
We all each bring different perspectives, and that collective intelligence is something that's, I feel, truly unique to the Mayo Clinic.
I think one of the strongest reasons patients come here is for that coordinated care. The size, the scale, the infrastructure that supports us here allows patients to be seen here and have a level of coordinated care that's difficult to duplicate anywhere else.
We're very proud of our #1 ranking in U.S. News and World Report, and it's something we've held many, many times.
To see that high ranking is reaffirming for people that they are doing the right thing, but we don't rest on our laurels, and we continue to try to do better because our patients really deserve that.
Care of patients is about meeting their needs. Research is about meeting their unmet needs.
Research is definitely something that Mayo does very well.
We consider research to support the practice by bringing the most cutting-edge treatments and ideas to a patient's care.
If they need surgery, they're going to have surgery done in a state-of-the-art operating room with the absolute best technology and equipment available.
And that makes it much safer for patients.
The wedding or the melding of visual imagery with robotics or other types of tools works well in what we do.
And that team approach, the expertise, the technology which we can apply to patients to treat them is truthfully why patients should come here.
It's all about the people that are here. We have a group of colleagues who are very dedicated to the ideals of Mayo and to the primary value, which is the needs of the patient come first.
It's very meaningful to me and my colleagues. Our mission is really to do the best for our patients, and that's why we stay here at Mayo.
会议将在1分钟后开始，请将手机调至无声或震动状态，谢谢。Ladies and gentlemen, the conference will begin in 1 minute. Please switch your mobile phone to silent or vibration mode. Thank you.
下午好，欢迎各位来到哈佛商业评论公开课。
2019年的公开课，这是第一场，来的稍微的晚了一些啊，但是你们是幸运者。今天的公开课的题为“创新无所不在，换个角度看医院管理”。我是今天的主持人黄金生，来自哈佛中心上海。哈佛中心是哈佛大学在中国的官方机构。现在的问题是，你们是谁？我现在想问一下，有没有20岁以下的听众？请举手。有没有50岁以上的听众？请举手。好，还是有一些的啊。那今天来的呢，基本上都是我们叫做青中年中青年的骨干分子。请问你们哪一些是来自于医疗的这个工作人员？请举手。基本上是所有人了看到有多少是医生？请举手。有一半哦。有多少是管理人员？医疗诊所的管理人员，请举手。就是医生也可以举手啊。医生要是举手的话呢，就说明这个单位是医生为主导的领导啊。好，哈佛商业评论的公开课一贯的学术风格是集结行业内最具影响力的精英人物，分享最新、最前沿、最具有借鉴性的商业理念和案例，以推动中国商业管理的发展。广告完毕。好难啊，让我念广告是最难的啊。好了，今天呢，你们的活动我们的活动，咱们的活动呢，分成2个部分。第一部分是演讲，我们请来了非常我们非常难得的演讲者。第二部分是我们有一个圆桌讨论，我也会主持这场圆桌讨论。在主持圆桌讨论的时候，我也邀请大家去想一下有什么问题，我们会给予一定的时间去回答大家的问题。那好了，我就不多说了。Without further ado， 我们来介绍几位演讲嘉宾，他们是来自 Mayo Clinic 的 Dr. Louis Cran、Dr. Raymond Pak、Mr. John Crooks 和来自长江商学院的李海涛教授。我们接下来会要请 Dr. Louis Cran 带来 Mayo Clinic 的管理艺术，有请 Dr.
Cran。Well, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to have the opportunity to take some time to tell you about an organization that I have been a part of for more than 30 years, which continues to surprise me with how it reinvents itself but still stays true to its roots. I am a practicing physician at the Mayo Clinic. My background is in psychiatry, with my patient care and research being in sleep medicine. I also, though, for the past 20 years have had a leadership role and am currently serving as the CEO of our site in Arizona. And what I would like to do is to tell you about Mayo Clinic, its history, its values, its network, and its scope. Many of you will be familiar with the Mayo Clinic, in part from the video we showed earlier today and from other sources. I would like to take this moment to give you an inside view of what it feels like for a physician in leadership who works at Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic is a unique medical organization even within the United States. Many academic health centers were started as a department of a university. However, we started in a small town where a father, who was a skilled physician, opened up a medical practice and then inspired his 2 sons, who went to 2 different medical schools and became surgeons who joined him. And together they were deeply committed to their patients and in improving the quality of care that their patients received. They traveled extensively, and this was very unusual for physicians in the central part of the United States to travel to Europe and beyond and bring back new techniques and technologies that allowed them to literally be put on the map and become a place where patients in turn traveled to them from across the United States and from across the world. And this went back to the 1910s and 1920s. Moving ahead to the current time, we are now celebrating 150 years of activity as an academic medical center. We have 63,000 employees. We've come a long way from that original group of 3, all of whom were in the same family. We serve 1.3 million patients every year, and they come from 137 countries. We have revenues of $11 billion US dollars, and we invest on an annual basis $1 billion in our educational programs and in research. The Mayo brothers felt very strongly that we had an obligation to teach, and they would invite people from all over to come and watch them do their surgeries and to watch the hospital in operation. We now have expanded that to a college of medicine that educates physicians, scientists, offers residency and fellowship programs, will invite fully trained physicians for advanced training, and also will train technologists in things like ultrasound technology, phlebotomy, nurse anesthesia, and many other fields. This has allowed us to recruit our staff from our own trainees, although we do mix in people who have other backgrounds to ensure we have a diversity of thought. We are absolutely delighted that we have once again been recognized as the #1 healthcare organization in the United States by U.S. News and World Report. And 2 weeks ago, it was announced that we were the #1 hospital in the world by Newsweek magazine. This is something that all of our staff, which we cherish and treasure, take very seriously, take great pride in, but we leave with the determination to do it again next year by making ourselves better with each and every patient we see. So I want to give you a sense of what sets us apart. Going back to the Mayo brothers, we very much believe that everything we do revolves around the patient. And we actually articulate this in a very clear way, that the needs of our patients come first. I have the good fortune to serve on the executive board, the board of governors, and the board of trustees that oversees the entire Mayo Clinic operation. I, of course, know the part of the practice that I work in, the Arizona practice, but I have oversight and authority for the entire Mayo Clinic. And I can tell you that this primary value is not just something that we put up on a sign and point to from time to time. It is something that we use when we make decisions as to what our priorities should be. We really set our sights on providing our patients with an unparalleled experience so that they will have their expectations of medical needs met, and they will go back home and tell their friends and neighbors about the experience they had at the Mayo Clinic and encourage them to seek care from us as well. We have a mission statement that we take very seriously. It is to inspire hope and contribute to health and well-being by providing the best care to every patient through integrated clinical practice, education, and research. That word integrated is very important, and it's one way that we attract and retain our staff. I have the good fortune as a sleep medicine physician of working very closely with my colleagues in ear, nose, and throat surgery, in pulmonary medicine, in neurology, in psychiatry, in nursing, and we are a team. And we very often see a complex patient, and it requires something from every one of us And I get to learn every day from the expertise of my colleagues, and that makes Mayo Clinic an especially enjoyable and satisfying place to work. However, we have other values that have been part of our fabric going back for many decades, besides the primacy of patient needs. We recruit staff and we reward staff through recognition and accolades who demonstrate on a daily basis respect for their patients, their colleagues, and their community friends, integrity so they can be trusted by patients, compassion and healing. That's a very important part of being a physician and providing care to people. A relentless commitment to innovation and making things better, a commitment to the highest possible standards and excellence, an awareness of the value of being in a team, and finally, the need to be good stewards of our resources. We have to have a financial basis that is solid and predictable in order to do what we seek to do. Mayo Clinic has over the years expanded from where the Mayo brothers first started in the state of Minnesota in the center part of the country to then a major site in Jacksonville, Florida. And you will meet one of my colleagues, two of my colleagues from Jacksonville, Florida later in this program. And then to Phoenix, Arizona, where I've had the good fortune to live and work for the past 17 years. I spent the prior 16 years in Rochester, Minnesota, so I personally have had the opportunity to work in two parts of Mayo Clinic, and I can assure you that the experience for me as an employee and the experience for our patients is the same, regardless of which part of our organization they go to. But that is quite an achievement because we are separated by thousands of miles, and it is very important to be clear on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it so that we can have those standards. We also have a group of affiliated practices. We do not own these. These were not mergers or acquisitions. They are like-minded organizations where we work with them very closely. We have an agreed-upon program where they have needs and expectations that we meet, and we work with them, and they will occasionally send patients to us. Many of those affiliated practice sites are in the United States, but some, as you can see, are international ones. So Mayo Clinic, what makes it special? I'd now like to dive a little deeper to tell you a little bit more about how we operate. We are a physician-led organization. So I graduated from medical school. I became accomplished and well known for providing care to patients. And then I moved into leadership roles. I continue to see patients, but I also have been responsible for running a department, running major committees, now running a site with 7,000 employees. And over time, I have needed to learn how to meet the needs of an organization in addition to the needs of my patients. I personally think we have been very well equipped to adapt as necessary because our physicians understand what patients need and have been willing to innovate when necessary in order to keep us relevant and help us change when necessary. We also work on a different compensation basis than most medical centers in the United States. I am paid a salary. I am not paid on the basis of how many patients I see or how many tests I order or how many of my patients go on to have surgery. I absolutely adore working where I work, even though my compensation does not vary depending on how hard I work, although it's something I can count on, and it's a very fair salary that I receive, as do my colleagues. We care very much that a patient who leaves the Mayo Clinic says, I had a good experience, I got high-value care, and that's something we have organized our entire operation around. And even within the United States, this is fairly uncommon, but it's something that we truly believe is important, so patients can trust us to make the right decisions for the sake of their health and their needs, not for the sake of my personal compensation. We also have a model of care. This has 14 components, and I just want to share with you the 14 ingredients that we feel are especially important to a high-quality, high-functioning healthcare organization. We work as a team. We have many handoffs. We share information. We all are wiser as a result of being in a team. We spend time with our patients. We spend as much time as we need to understand our patients' needs and expectations and to provide them the education about their condition. We have a single physician who is responsible for each patient. So if a patient goes off for a whole series of tests or consultations with other specialists, there's one physician who knits that together and comes up with a comprehensive plan and perhaps a unifying diagnosis or multiple diagnoses. Many of our patients do not live in the community where we have our operations. They travel to see us, and it's very important we work with their local physician so that we can receive the patient and get the necessary background, and we can send the patient home with the local physician picking up where we left off. We try to not only be very good scientists and technologists from a medical perspective, but also understand our patients through a prism of compassion and a focus on hope and healing. And we really try to demonstrate respect for the patient, their family, their community, including their local physician. Oops. Two more principles that we value are that our evaluations are comprehensive and timely. There are certain points in a patient's illness where they need to be seen, they need to have a diagnosis made, they need treatment, and we try to the best of our ability to identify those points and do what's needed at the right time. We try to use innovative, advanced technology when necessary, but not overuse it. Just enough, not too much. We also care greatly about our care environment. We want all of our staff to be operating at a very high level of quality, so we recruit the best, we help them get better, and we hope that they will stay for their whole career. I started at Mayo Clinic as a student when I was 22 years old. My hope is that I'll retire, not anytime soon, but spend the entirety of my career working for this one organization. In the United States, that is not the most common experience. We recruit people who are very committed to working hard, who believe in our mission, and who believe in our values. And we try to have an environment where we encourage people to ask questions, to be scholars, to advance our understanding of disease, and try and open up new therapy techniques. We, of course, as I've already mentioned, believe that physicians, not alone, in combination with other administrative leaders, play an important role in our leadership teams. We have a medical record that follows the patient. This, these days, is not quite as novel since electronic medical records are readily available, but we did this back in the 1920s, where a paper file would follow a patient as they move throughout their Mayo Clinic experience. So everyone's clinical note was placed in the same record, and we therefore could get a complete understanding of a patient's needs. I have already mentioned that we pay our physicians well. We don't pay them as highly as we possibly could, but we pay them enough that they come to us knowing that they can live a comfortable life, but they are motivated by other things, by altruism, by scientific curiosity, not simply by money. And we also try to have a very distinctive look and feel. We ask our physicians to dress fairly formally to indicate respect to our patients. We construct our buildings very carefully so that they are a healing environment. And we try to have a setting that is peaceful and help a patient feel relaxed. Now, we certainly have our own challenges, and I want to take a moment to touch upon those. In the United States, there is a tremendous need for health care, and so in some communities there is a shortage of physicians as well as hospitals. And so we at times struggle with more patients wanting to see us than we have a capacity in the near term. We continue to try and address this and look for new ways, such as telemedicine, where we perhaps can help our patients with using a variety of tools. We work in a system where almost all of our competitors are compensated based on volume instead of on value. We refuse to compromise. We continue to be an outlier, but sometimes we find ourselves in a challenging situation because the way the medical reimbursement is not the way that Mayo Clinic has been designed, although clearly we're doing pretty well. Like in China, we have an aging population with individuals becoming older and having more diseases and often having more than one disease. This is testing us, but we're trying to do our research so we are better and better to meet the needs of our older patients. We work in a highly competitive markets. There are many well-regarded hospitals in the United States, but we do our best. We welcome the competition. It keeps us on our toes. It helps us become better and better at what we do. Some people would view us as being somewhat expensive. It kind of depends on how you look at it. We may be somewhat expensive for a single test, but if we only do one test instead of doing 10 tests, that's actually not as expensive as the place that does 10 moderately priced tests. And that's what we try to, how we try to serve our patients. We are very clear about what our goals are. We want to offer a high-quality patient experience. We care very much that our patients and our staff are satisfied with the experience they get. We care about our patients and their communities being healthy, and we continue to try and innovate so we can contribute to the United States and the world being a healthier place for all of us. And we also care about the cost of care. We look forward to having more and more services that can be done in a more economical way. And you'll hear shortly from one of my colleagues who will talk about some of the new tests and treatments we have that represent a cost savings but still offer very high quality care, a very high level of value. At Mayo Clinic, we are very committed to having a strategic plan that we use in addition to our values as we make decisions. And you can see on this slide the 6 points that help us decide where we are going to expand, where we are going to contract, what are going to be our priorities. And they reflect many of the things I've been sharing with you this afternoon. It is my pleasure, after working at Mayo Clinic for 30 years, to have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what makes this institution special, to give you an insider's view of what Mayo Clinic is all about. And shortly you'll hear from some of my colleagues about other aspects of Mayo Clinic so that you can also see why we hold it in such high regard. Thank you.
谢谢 Dr. Cran。我们刚才听到的是 Mayo Clinic 如何管理他们这医院的。说到管理，现在我们大家在我们大家的心目当中有一个共同关心的一个题目，就是信息科技如何跟医疗能够结合在一起。下面这位演讲者，他将会讲述医疗信息系统成功实施的要素。现在我们有请下一位演讲者 ，Mr. John Crooks。